On her 18th birthday, Xu Zhengyi went to a bar to relax and spent an impulsive night with a strange handsome man. She left in a hurry the next morning, only lingering with a cold pine scent on the pillow and a note on the nightstand bearing just one word: yielding. Taking it as a casual adult fling, she put the note away without asking for his name. Rushing into the lecture hall, right before the bell rang, Xu Zhengyi froze on the spot. Standing on the podium was Fu Hanchong, the new substitute professor, dressed in a spotless white shirt with neat cuffs and gold-rimmed glasses. He looked cold, refined and breathtakingly handsome, exactly the man she had spent the night with. The course Special Research on Modern and Contemporary Chinese Literature had a new teacher that semester, and everyone on campus knew Fu Hanchong was extraordinarily young, strikingly good-looking, and extremely strict in teaching. Xu Zhengyi never expected her one-nightstand to be her professional course professor, as well as the closest college friend of her elder brother Zhu Tiankuo. Fu Hanchong swept his gaze over the classroom, paused for 2 seconds when it fell on Xu Zhengyi at the door, then opened the roll call book with an indifferent expression and called her name in a cold, calm voice. Under the gaze of the whole class, Xu Zhengyi responded stiffly. Fu Hanchong walked straight to the door and forced her out of the classroom step by step in front of everyone. As soon as the door closed, he firmly wrapped his arm around her waist and held her in his arms, his deep voice tinged with suppressed tension, stating that latecomers must accept punishment. Memories drifted back to that night in the bar. Amid the noisy crowd, Fu Hanchong was as quiet as a serene painting. Xu Zhengyi walked over with a glass of wine and sat directly on his lap, openly praising his extraordinary looks. Fu Hanchong tensed up instantly, reminding her she was in the wrong place and revealing he was already 20-8. Xu Zhengyi smiled brightly, admitting she had just turned 18 and was legally an adult. The ambiguous atmosphere surged. Fu Hanchong's eyes darkened with emotion, pinned her down on the booth, held her chin and approached gradually. Boldly, Xu Zhengyi licked his thumb, completely breaking his restraint. He leaned down for a fierce, domineering kiss, like a long-suppressed beast capturing its prey, passionate and lingering, amid the deafening bar music and swirling neon lights. Xu Zhengyi was utterly captivated. At last, he whispered hoarsely by her ear, "You asked for this." Back in the empty classroom at present, Fu Hanchong shed his detached classroom demeanor, exuding overwhelming dominance. Xu Zhengyi hurriedly explained that night was just a misunderstanding. She had no idea of his identity and wanted to erase it from memory. A dangerous smile tugged at Fu Hanchong's lips. He took out the note she had kept from the folder of his lesson plan, admitting he had quietly taken it while she was asleep. He said calmly that he had watched her in silence for 2 hours that night, engraving every detail about her deep in his heart. Xu Zhengyi was filled with shock, unable to comprehend such obsessive behavior. Fu Hanchong restrained his aura, returning to his cold demeanor, advising her to drop his course as soon as possible. He confessed that merely seeing her made him unable to restrain the urge to hold and kiss her. He gave her a 3-day deadline to drop the course, warning that even if she skipped class afterward, her final grades would be under his control. Stubborn and unwilling to back down, Xu Zhengyi was already attracted by Fu Hanchong's appearance and temperament, so she chose to keep attending his class. In subsequent lessons, Xu Zhengyi often sat in the last row gazing silently at Fu Hanchong on the podium, falling for his cold and refined charm. Yet, constrained by their teacher-student status and his bond with her brother, she dared not approach easily. However, she underestimated Fu Hanchong's paranoia and obsession. In the 3rd week's class, Xu Zhengyi wore a square necked up, revealing her collarbone. After class, Fu Hanchong asked her to stay behind alone. He called her over across the long lecture hall, used his knuckle to gently lift her collar, and ordered her in a low voice to wear high-neck clothes in class from then on, his tone leaving no room for refusal. Xu Zhengyi called and helped retorting, but he said it was not a request as a professor, but out of private longing, maintaining deliberate distance yet unable to hide the suppressed affection in his eyes. Xu Zhengyi fled in a panic, clearly realizing she had already fallen for this cold and paranoid man. A phone call from her elder brother Chu Yonkuo completely changed everything. He asked Chu Zhengyi seriously about her relationship with Fu Hanchong, revealing that Fu Hanchong had formally asked for his permission to pursue her. Having known Fu Hanchong for 10 years, Chu Yonkuo was well aware of his aloof personality. He had never been moved by any woman before. Yet he was exceptionally earnest about Chu Zhengyi, even confessing that meeting her was the only thing that had made his 20-8 years of life meaningful. Trusting Fu Hanchong's character, Chu Yonkuo finally agreed to their relationship. From then on, Fu Hanchong no longer hid his feelings and took the initiative to create intersections. He launched an academic salon for freshmen every Friday night in his office, with Chu Zhengyi as the only participant. Every time before 8 o'clock, Fu Hanchong would lock the door, draw the curtains, and kiss her passionately yet restrained, lying in his arms. He always began with cautious, tentative touches. Once Chu Zhengyi responded even slightly, he would lose complete control, abandoning his refined image, breathing heavily and leaving faint red marks all over her body. Still, he stuck to his bottom line and never crossed the final boundary, always restraining his desires on the grounds that she was not ready yet, implicitly hinting he harbored untold secrets. 40-5 days after her 18th birthday, while waiting for Fu Hanchong in his office, Chu Zhengyi accidentally caught sight of a message popping up on his phone. A contact named Officer Zhao sent a psychological evaluation report, stating that Fu Hanchong scored 72 on the BPRS brief psychiatric rating scale, suffering from severe paranoid and obsessive-compulsive personality traits, and was advised to return for follow-up visits and medication treatment. Chu Zhengyi was stunned blankly. Just then, Fu Hanchong returned carrying a strawberry cake she had casually mentioned craving, only to catch her peeking at his phone. His expression shifted instantly from gentle anticipation to panic. Overwhelmed by the unease of having his deepest secret exposed, he put down the cake and put away his phone with unnatural calmness, admitting plainly that she had seen everything. He told her to drop the course immediately, delete his contact information, and stay away from him forever. When Chu Zhengyi refused to leave, he teetered on the verge of emotional collapse. His eyes reddened and body tensed, asking vulnerably and paranoiacally if she thought he was a freak. Chu Zhengyi hesitated, recalling his weird acts of stalking, keeping her notes secretly, and watching her while she slept. Doubt inevitably crept into her mind. Fu Hanchong slowly revealed all his past. He was diagnosed with paranoid personality disorder at 18. Countless doctors failed to help him, so he taught himself psychology to forcefully restrain his emotions and disguise himself as an aloof and indifferent normal person. He first met Chu Zhengyi at a dinner party 3 months earlier. Her unrestrained, lively personality broke into his closed world completely. After that, he asked Chu Yonkuo for her photo and began recording every detail of her preferences, habits and daily life day after day. He secretly stalked her for 3 months, blending solidly into her life, creating deliberate encounters in the library, playground and mall. Even their meeting in the bar on her birthday was no accident. He had long figured out her schedule and waited nearby in advance. He confessed that the moment Chu Zhengyi took the initiative to touch him, he could no longer pretend to be irrational, and his paranoid love spiraled out of control. Chu Zhengyi finally understood all his restrained and suppressed gazes, realizing his indifference was just self-restraint, fearing his paranoid nature would hurt her. Moved to tears by his vulnerable breakdown, she let go of all misgivings, stood on tiptoe and kissed him proactively. She confessed fearlessly that she cared not about his paranoia or illness, and would never back down now that she was deeply entangled with him. She insisted that only she had the right to judge whether he was worthy, fearing no worldly status or worldly judgment. Touched by her determination, Fu Hanchong dropped all pretense and held her tightly in his arms with paranoid and heartfelt cherishment. Vowing never to let her go for the rest of his life, the two officially confirmed their relationship. Fu Hanchong attended regular psychological counseling, persisted in medication, and learned to express his inner anxiety and unease honestly instead of suppressing it alone. Chu Zhongyi accompanied him gently all the way, giving him full sense of security and becoming the only light in his gloomy life. Peaceful days did not last long. Shen Nian, a senior from the economics department who had a crush on Fu Hanchang, publicly posted a candid photo of him on Moments to confess her love. She then asked ambiguous questions in class to show her affection openly. Rejected coldly by Fu Hanchang, who made it clear his heart belonged to another, Shen Nian grew jealous. She privately added Chu Zhongyi on WeChat to provoke her, belittling her for being too young to understand love and claiming she was the better match for Fu Hanchang. She also deliberately mentioned his mental illness, insinuating that people with paranoid personality disorder were good at manipulating others and only treated Chu Zhongyi as prey. Accidentally revealing Fu Hanchang's condition, Chu Zhongyi incurred Shen Nian's resentment. Shen Nian maliciously posted a rumor online forum, fabricating lies that Fu Hanchang suffered from dangerous mental illness prone to hurting others and abused his professor status to date a female student. She leaked Chu Zhong's name and photo, smearing her as a gold-minus digging student seducing teachers for grades. The post went viral instantly, triggering campus gossip, flooding the academic affairs office with complaints, and turning Fu Hanchang from a respected young associate professor into a target of public criticism overnight. To protect Chu Zhong's reputation and future, Fu Hanchang decided to resign voluntarily, issue a statement to clear her name, and bear all public criticism alone to stay away from the campus. Chu Zhongyi firmly refused, unwilling to let him bear unjust stigma, insisting on facing the rumors side by side with him. The two went to the academic affairs office together to confess the whole truth of their acquaintance and relationship. Chu Zhongyi took the initiative to explain their love story, offering to transfer her major and drop all his courses as long as the school did not punish Fu Hanchang. Fu Hanchang took full responsibility alone, admitting he violated teachers' professional ethics and accepting any punishment, striving desperately to shield Chu Zhongyi from public gossip. The director of the academic affairs office investigated the truth, tracing the post's IP to Shen Nian and confirming it was malicious slander out of emotional jealousy. Leaking others' medical records without permission was even suspected of breaking the law. Finally, the school gave Fu Hanchang a disciplinary warning instead of dismissal, respected their private relationship without interference, and only suggested Chu Zhongyi transfer her major to avoid idle gossip. After the turmoil, Fu Hanchang resigned from his university professor position voluntarily. He could no longer restrain his emotions and suppress his true feelings standing on the podium, choosing to take off all masks and stay by Chu Zhong's side openly and squarely, relying on dividends from an educational technology company he invested in during college. He worked from home while taking meticulous, paranoid care of Chu Zhong's daily life. He left daily sticky notes reminding her of dressing, exams and meals, accumulating more than 200 warm notes, integrating his love into every trivial detail of life. Later, Shen Nian took the initiative to apologize to Chu Zhongyi, confessing her jealousy and guilt for leaking medical records and spreading rumors. She regretted never being able to walk into Fu Hanchang's world. Chu Zhongyi chose to let go of resentment, knowing some people were destined to be footnotes in other stories, while she had already become the sole theme of Fu Hanchang's entire life. On their second anniversary, Fu Hanchang booked an entire French restaurant and knelt down, on one knee with a plain ring engraved inside Chu Zhongyi. My paranoia, he confessed. He could not like a normal person. His love was paranoid, possessive and irrational, permeating every corner of her life. He gave her the choice to leave freely, yet hoped she would stay with him forever. Chu Zhongyi agreed tearfully, putting on the ring to settle their lifelong commitment. Fu Hanchang slipped the ring gently on her finger, his eyes filled with paranoia and deep affection. They kissed in each other's arms, vowing to stay bound together for a lifetime. In his diary, Fu Hanchang quietly recorded the day of their proposal, treasuring his paranoid yet sincere love forever.